Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm using the Jar of Love stamp set. Now I've had this set a long time, but I don't tend to use it very much. And I think after playing with this today, that's going to change. It's a lovely set with lots of different flowers, little jam jars or mason jars as you call them over in Canada, little leaves, tiny little bumblebee here, little fish, more flowers, and some really nice sentiments. And when you look inside, it's actually two stamp pages and all of the little framelets as well. So let me show you what we're going to make. I'm making a very simple Easter card. It doesn't have to be for Easter though. I think it's one of those cards that whatever sentiment you put on here would be perfect. A get well, a happy birthday, thinking of you, congratulations, anything you would sort of send a bunch of flowers for really. So this is my card for today and I'm going to recreate it. I'm not going to change very much and I'm still going to make it an Easter card, but you can put on whichever sentiment you want. The Easter sentiment I've put on is actually from the You're Inspiring, and it's this Happy Easter from here. So let me show you what I did. I started off with a piece of thick Whisper White card, and I like the thicker card for card bases if I'm using white. The thin is really nice paper, but I just like the feel of this thicker card. And it's not shiny or sort of flimsy. It's a nice sturdy card. I've already scored it. So we now have a card that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to sort out the pieces for the inside and for the layers first. And you can see I've left a slightly larger border on this one. Normally I only leave 1/4 inch borders, but this one I wanted it to be just a little bit bigger. No, a little bit smaller. The border's a bit bigger, the card's smaller. So I've used the Grapefruit Grove and I've cut it at 5 by 3 3/4. And then my white piece I've made a 1/4 inch smaller. So this is 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And we're going to use one for the outside and one for the inside. And I'm making them both the same just because it makes it easier. Now let's pop this on here. You can do some stamping on the inside if you want to, as well as a sentiment. You know, you could put some of the flowers that we're going to use. Let's pop this on the inside and then we know it's ready. Pop that to one side, and then we're going to do our stamping on the second white piece that we cut. And I've already started. What I did was I used the middle-sized jar. I tried first of all with the larger jar, but it was just a bit too tall for what I wanted. So I've taken the middle-sized jar. And one thing to note about this set is when you take it off the acetate, you can very easily stretch the stamp itself, and that's not really what you want. So what I do is I take it off and I just drop it on my paper upside down, and then when it's had a moment or two to relax, then I'll just put a block onto it rather than pulling it off the acetate where it's not quite straight, sticking it on. I know this is a bit exaggerated, but you don't always get the nice straight lines that you're hoping for. I've actually stamped in the smoky slate. I did try with the black, but it was just a bit darker than I wanted. And if you can imagine this on here, I didn't want the jar itself to be the focus. I wanted the flowers and the colours to be the focus. So that's why I changed my mind and I stamped it with the smoky slate. And then next we're going to put the leaves in. Let me just find a little piece of scrap paper, put underneath here. Okay, so leaves and stems are the next thing we're going to put in. And I'm using this leafy, I thought it looked sort of a spring-like leaf, like it's something that's just shooting and just getting its leaves. So I've put that on a block, and then I'm using Granny Apple Green. And I'm just going to stand up to do this, just because it's a long block. Okay, so I just wanted 3 leaves or 3 sprigs stamping, but I didn't want them all to be the same length or the same height. So I've just been a little bit more careful about where I place them. Let's put this one a little bit lower down. There we are. So that's all of the green, the Granny Apple Green for that sprig. And I'm not using that one for any other leaves, but I am going to use more of the Granny Apple Green. I'm going to get one of my blocks, and I'm going to use this piece, which is just a stem. And like I was saying earlier, you can manipulate these. So I actually would like it a little bit curved. So I've not put it on the block straight. And then I'm just going to put some more in here. They're not going to actually lead anywhere. It just is to give the illusion of having the stems going into the jar. Oh, I am going to do some in a different colour though. Let's put that Granny Apple Green away. And then I've got the old olive colour out, and I'm making it just a different shape. I don't want it to be a curly shape this time. I want it to be a little bit straighter, so that it looks like a different flower or a different piece of greenery. And I'm just putting sort of 4 or 5 in, like that. There we go. Clean that, put that one away. And then next, I'm going to do the water part. And this is the little piece that you use for water. And the colour I'm going to use is, I think I'm going to use my Pool Party again. I used that last time and it seemed to be just about the right kind of colour. But you do have to stamp off. I don't want it to be too dark. So I'm just going to line that up. So it will only be pale, but it will look like water. It's just the right kind of colour for that. Okay, I'll pop that one away, and then I can sit down again. I don't have to see on top of the stamping. I don't have to see where it needs to be. And we'll get rid of this as well. And I'm just going to move those to give us a little bit more room. Now, the next thing that I did was I took this little line here and the bow, because this makes the ribbon and this makes the bow. Oh, not that one. How can you see it's got a little ribbon and a little bow? And I just chose one of the coordinating colours that I'd already used. So with that, I've already stamped them in Calypso Coral. I'm just going to quickly attach them. Oops. And this time I'm going to have the ribbon going here and the bow at this side, just so it looks a little bit different to my other one. There we are. And then what I did next was I stamped some of these stems in the old olive and cut them out with the matching framelit. And I'm only going to use maybe 2, maybe 3. I'm not going to use many. And what I'm also going to do is I'm not having them so that they go through the jar. I just want to cut them. The flowers that I put on top will cover over the end of the stem. I just want to cut them so that they're different lengths. And because it's just a little bit thicker than where the other stems are stamped, it just gives it that little bit of texture and a little bit of, sort of a little bit of height really. And I've not put glue solidly on all of it, and that way some of the leaves will just stick out a little bit. See where I'm going to put this piece, just here I think. Yeah, that's all I want. Okay, now time for the flowers. And let me show you what I made. I made this flower first, and this is the background of the flower, and this is the highlight, and then this tiny little one here are the little stamens inside. So I used my So Saffron, I stamped off and then stamped the flower itself, and then using So Saffron at full strength, I popped this one on the top, and then the stamens I did in black. So I've got 3 of those left. I actually did 5 of each, so that on this card I used 2 yellow and 3 orange, and on this one I'll use 2 orange and 3 yellow. Now for the orange one I did exactly the same flower, but instead of stamping off I actually used the petal pink as the base and then the calypso coral as the highlight. And I think that petal pink has the ability to take on like a apricot peachy kind of a hue. So I thought it looked quite nice with the orange on top. And then all I'm going to do is just glue these on. And I want to make sure that I glue over the edges where I've cut these little sort of stems of things. So I'm going to put one here, and then I'm going to put an orange one at the other side. Oops. There we are. And then I'm going to go with another yellow one. And I'm just going to stick it slightly under that one there. And I don't want them to look too arranged. I just want them to look like they're in a vase, and you know, they're sort of just sitting in a vase nicely. If you wanted to, you could actually put them a little bit higher up on the leaves and the stems, and you could even put them on a dimensional, and that would give some of them an extra height as well. There we are. So that's all of the flowers stuck on. Now I did cut out some of this flower, and when you stamp this flower, it's actually a double flower on the stamp itself, but when you cut it out, it cuts them out singly. And I used my Melon Mambo for these. I wasn't sure if I was going to use any or not, so I stamped off with Melon Mambo, and then it was the paler, and then full strength for the others. And I do like the look of these little pink ones in there. See, I think that looks quite pretty, and like more like a bit like an Easter bouquet. But I didn't put any on the other one. I think I might put some in here. Yeah, let's go for it. Pop some glue on. And it won't matter because the background and the layering that I've got for the card will still match the ribbon and some of the other flowers. I like these little ones best. So let's pop some of those over here. Once you start to play with this set, there are so many combinations of flowers and colours that you can make. I think it's really, really pretty. And I don't know why I've just left it on my shelf all this time. I saw a cute card. I don't know if it was in the catalogue itself, but where they'd used the little mason jar, one of these two, filled it up with water, popped a little handle on, and then put the little fish swimming in the water. And let me see, this little sentiment here says best fishes. I thought that was pretty cute. Okay, I think I might just pop another 2 on of this pink. Just peeping out there. Okay, so that's all of the flowers finished. And then I found myself a strip of card and I stamped the Happy Easter sentiment out, however many times I thought I could fit it in. And then using this punch, all I did was work out where that looked nice, whether it was straight. Just stamped one out. And on the back, I used some of the little bones from the Stampin' Dimensionals. Popped it on here. Oops, upside down. Okay, and then I'm going to put it at this side, opposite to the ribbon. See, that's what I did on here. I put the ribbon at the left and the sentiment at the right. Well, here my ribbon's at the right, so I'm going to put my sentiment to the left. I still want to see the stems poking through that glass there. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, what you could do as well is put some little diamantes, little rhinestones or pearls into there. Let me see what I've got in my box here. I've got some of the artisan pearls. Here we are. Let's pop some of these on. Just have a look for my pokey tool. And then we'll just put them on these pink flowers. See which are looking nice on there. I quite like this darker pink. Oh yeah, that looks nice. And there are no more of that colour on there, no more on that one. So we might have to put some of the more, the paler ones on as well. Let's pop that one on there. I think we've got 7 here. 2, 4, 6, 7, yeah. And a couple, I'm just going to put the orange on as well. I don't think it matters so much that they're slightly different. There, that looks pretty. Okay, and then I'm going to put my fast fuse on the back. And let me find my orange, my Calypso coral piece to add it onto. What would be nice on here rather than having it flat is just to have this on dimensionals too. That would just give it even more texture. Yeah, let's do that. Let's put dimensionals on. Put one in each corner. And we'll put some across the middle. And just pop the backings off. If you have trouble getting these backings off, what's easy to do sometimes is just press it with a pen or with your pokey tool or your scissors and it lifts at one corner. As I know sometimes when I've tried to get them off, there are some that just don't want to separate at all. So if you have trouble, just poke them down the back in the middle with a pen or your scissors, and that will make them jump off. There we go. So there we are. That's the second little Easter card made. I like this one with just the plain flowers, but I do like that little pop of pink as well. I think that's very pretty. So there we are. That's my 2 cards today using the Jar of Love set. If you have this set, have a go with it. Get some, just get a piece of white card like I did earlier and try stamping all of these flowers in different colours. That's what I did to start this one off. And then I really fell in love with this sort of orangey one here with the petal pink and the calypso coral. And that made me think, oh, that would be nice in a vase. And it would be nice with the orange background and the same colour ribbon. So that's what gave me the idea for this. So have a go. Thanks so much for watching me again. See you all again soon. Bye-bye.